So we start out directly off of where we began previously. Um, you were bitten by some sort of creature, Halcyon, and then things got very bad very quickly. You started to feel just so awful, like the sickest you've ever been, in fact. Um, and there was somebody standing over you, somebody who almost seemed familiar to you, but everything was so dark that you couldn't really like tell who it was. And they were saying that they needed to get you to the medical cabin. For everybody else, what that looks like is you see a, well, perhaps for some of you this would be a shocking, honest to God's centaur of all things, gallop through the woods and slay this monster that was attacking you where you could not. And then he goes over to Halcyon, sees what has transpired, and then very quickly everybody is ushered out of the woods. You find yourselves going with, mysterious horseman. Acacia, you would know this would be Chiron, of course. And
Okay.
you
Yep,
go,
he's quite memorable.
yeah, and you go with him to the medical cabin. And everyone is sort of like gathered around the bed where Halcyon is being kept at. Your friend is terribly sick. He's shivering. He's doesn't seem to be entirely conscious. What does everybody say at this? How is everybody reacting to this?
I think Max is just trying to stay as close to Hal as possible, and is just glaring at anybody who comes too close. Similar to how he was at the party. Just he's back in protection mode. He left Hal for like 10 minutes, and then the giant monster appeared and tried to eat him. So he's not doing that again.
Maybe if you were there, things would have ended differently.
Well, Acacia was there, and she failed to keep Hal safe, so she's blaming herself. She ran him to the medical cabin as fast as she could. And is now determined and is now quite determined both to help him and to figure out what it is that's after. It's the second time I know that something like this has happened, and it shouldn't be possible for it to happen at camp.
Yes, that's right. Usually you don't get monsters like that in the camp proper. And of course that creature, that wolf, had that spiral necklace around its neck. Just like... Also, Max, you have that, right? Like, you kept that, didn't you?
Yeah. I've pocketed it. It's in my khaki shorts.
Yeah, so you have
Pocketed my khaki shorts.
And so this is the second time now that symbol has shown up on a monster. It's very interesting, perhaps. Chiron, he, once he has Hal in the bed and everything, he sighs heavily, and he has this sort of forlorn look on his face. If only I had been a little faster. And he closes his eyes, and then he turns to face the group. I am sorry about your friend. It may not be safe for you to remain by his side for the moment.
Beatrice is not reacting to that information.
So she's just like standing there in shock, sort of.
Yeah, she's just not acknowledging that as like a valid request.
makes
Shock,
makes sense.
shock from the personal drama or shock from the Centaur? Oh, the Centaur's fine. That's whatever. Yeah. Beatrice was pretty excited about the Pegasus last session. Someone wasn't dying last time.
Fair enough. For now, we're going to monitor his condition. I wish that I could guarantee more about him, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. For now, you should return to your cabins. How do you react to that?
Beatrice has no intention of moving.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Max is going to look up at Chiron.
Go ahead.
Max is going to look up at Chiron and he's going to say, I don't have a cabin. I'm staying with him.
And he looks at you, and then, he sort of gets, like, what's going on exactly. Oh, I see. Well, you'll have to remain at your own risk, then. I hope you understand that.
Yeah, whatever, old man. He turns away and just
Damn, the
stares.
disrespect!
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
He sort of seems shocked by this, and then he quickly recomposes himself. In light of what has happened to your friend, I will allow that one this time. So, the next few days, we're going to go ahead and do a sort of a time skip, seem to just drag on almost. And you guys notice that the storm that started that day, it just seems to be getting worse and worse. The weather just seems to be intensifying more and more as time goes on. Beatrice, the day after everything transpires, you're called over to the big house. You're not sure why. It's just that Keisha was told to come and get you and to bring you there. And the two of you, you walk in and you find Mr. D as well as Chiron sitting there. And Chiron seems to be, he's in a wheelchair for some reason. You're not sure exactly what the hell's up with that. I mean, wasn't he a horseman just the other day? And he seems to be holding something in his lap, almost. And he looks at you, Beatrice, and he says, I needed to ask you a question. And he reveals what it is he's holding. And instantly, Beatrice, you recognize what it is, but you're confused. It's your grimoire. The one where where you learned magic from. And you hadn't even realized that it had been taken from you.
How'd you get that?
Someone found it in the woods, along with a summoning circle. He opens the book up, and written there, near the front, and handwriting that definitely is not yours is a message. And in red ink it says, "Property of Beatrice Summers." And he looks at you, Chiron just looks at you with this sort of neutral expression on his face, and he asks you, "Is this your book?"
Oh, yeah.
I see. And my next question is this. Were you the one to summon that lycanthrope into the camp?
Nope.
And he sort of...
She responds, like, cheerily.
And he sort of, like, just looks at you as you reply, as if he's, like, studying your reaction. Of course. He closes the book, though he doesn't move to return it to you. Then I fear that there is another here who has done all of this. Troubling times indeed. God damn it.
Good, I have that back.
And he considers that for a moment. No, not yet. I intend to study it a bit more. There's
It's mine, though.
powerful magic around this book. Yes, and when I am satisfied that I've learned all that I can from it, I will see it return to you. I promise.
Does he look trustworthy?
He does. He does.
Okay, fine.
More time passes, and Halcyon, we're going to switch over to your POV for a second. You drift in between being asleep and being awake, sort of like bobbing in the ocean. One minute you're below the waters, and then the next you rise up, if only for the briefest of moments, back into the waking world. And everything is very confusing, very disorienting. You can't really tell what's real and what is exactly a dream at this point. You hear thunder. That's the one constant sort of thing, is you hear the din of thunder in the background, as well as these voices, but not the voices that you usually hear. No, these are different. You hear a man's voice, and it asks, "And how can we be sure that he is who he says he is? That he is what he claims to be?" I propose a test. And you don't get all of the details about whatever it is that's happening, but there's just something terrible and gruesome. You get that sort of feeling. And you feel almost drawn into this story for some reason that you can't quite explain why. He drinks pineapples. Jesus Christ, no. Anyways. And you see this just... You know, it's very blurry, but you get more of like this emotional sort of feeling, like this very cruel sort of man. And he almost seems to be running away from something, maybe a storm, trying to flee from it. And you hear a voice booming through the landscape. "You will pay for your transgressions." And you watch as this man morphs, perhaps like the Animorphs in their stories, from man to wolf. How he howls in rage at the moon. And you hear his voice again, and he says, "All wolves will come to heel." And we'll switch over to. Oh my god. No, we're going to stay with you for a second, Hal. And finally, Hal, after you're not even sure how long has passed, really. It's just like everything was just so weird. But finally, you start to feel surprisingly better again. Like, whatever it is that happened to you, is past. And you find yourself in a dimly lit in a dimly lit cabin, in a bed. And you can hear the thunder outside and the wind. And, those ever familiar voices calling out. And that's when you hear another voice. And you hear almost the turning of wheels as you look over. Ah, you're awake. And you look over and you recognize the person in the wheelchair in multiple different ways. For one, he looks like the one who was in the forest, the one who picked you up and brought you to wherever you are now. But he also looks like one of the substitute teachers that used to come to your school, in fact. You didn't see him often, maybe just once or twice, really. But you do recognize him. And he looks at you, almost warily, and he asks, "How are you feeling?"
Hungry?
And he
really hungry.
And his eyes sort of just like widen at that. "Then we'll get you something to eat soon." And it's at this moment that you notice a few other things. The bite on your arm has seemingly just vanished. There's not even a scar left, really. It's just gone completely. Which, is, I imagine, very surprising. And you also smell, like your sense of smell, and just your senses in general just seem so much sharper. But especially your sense of smell. And you smell, well, I'm trying to think, how would I describe this? You smell, obviously you smell horse, for one, which is like, what? And, oh my god. And, you also smell like, it's almost like meat, like cooking almost. And it just makes you feel all the more just hungry.
Can I get some dino nuggies?
No, not the dino nuggies. Oh, no, not the dino nuggies. Okay. And, it takes a little bit, but, eventually you're brought a plate of dino nuggies, we'll say. As your request. And, as you're eating the dino nuggies, as you're doing that, Chiron begins to explain to you, and he says, "You were... How much do you remember of what happened to you?"
Well, I got bit by a big dog, and then everything hurt for a really long time. And then there was like this dream I was having. Kind of hard to remember. There was someone running. he turned into a dog. It might have been and there was some voices, and it was in and out and in and out for a while there. Kind of hard to remember.
I think that's a very fair thing to say. You're, well, I don't know if I would say fortunate, but you are alive. That much is true. And he almost has this sort of like solemn sort of look on his face, as he seems to be trying to find words for something, but you're not exactly sure what. I'm so sorry, my boy, that this has happened to you. You did not deserve this. You had only just arrived here. The creature in the woods that attacked you, that was a lycanthrope. You may have heard them called werewolves. I think that's the term that mortals like to use. Isn't it?
Okay, yeah, Hal sits up and is like, I'm an Animorph?
And Chiron, he just like stares at you for a second. And he has this really confused look on his face. What is an Animorph?
Okay, so it's like this book series I've been reading where like there's these people and they can turn into animals and they like save the world. It's really cool. You should read them. They have cool covers. Anyway, but I can. But am I gonna turn into a wolf?
And he folds his
Or
hands together, and he says, yes, that is a likely possibility. If you lose control of your temper, and on the nights of the full moons, you will turn, yes.
Wow. I gotta tell Max about this. Alright, and this is forever?
Yes.
Like, wow, that's heavy. He's, he's just like, when's the next full moon?
That's a really good question.
And Chiron thinks about that for a moment. I would have to consult my calendar to check. I don't know offhand. But, well, from now on, we'll have to make sure to keep track of that, won't we?
Yeah, that's gonna be important.
What is also important is that from now on, you have to avoid silver. Don't even touch it. It's a bane to you now. You're gonna go.
Hal's like, I don't remember even the last time I touched silver, like saw silver. That seems like, I mean, I'll keep that in mind, but when's someone gonna have silver on them? That's like, all right. I'll keep an eye out.
we'll switch back over to. This is really funny because Jane just stepped out when I was about to switch back. Oh my goodness. No, she's gonna be okay. Anyways. It's pretty early in the morning over in Hermes' cabin. You've been asleep for most of the night, Beatrice, when you're awoken by the sound of footsteps. They seem to be heavy on the wooden floor of the cabin, and they seem to be coming towards you, almost like somebody's walking towards you.
I get up.
And as you get up in the darkness, you see this sort of hunched over figure. And as the as the storm rages outside, there is a flash of lightning, and for the briefest of moments, the figure standing before you is illuminated, and they're almost like a mummy of sorts, like some mummified lady. How do you react?
A mummified lady.
Yeah, like that's what you see pretty much.
I fucking scream. That's horrifying.
That is completely fair. That is a completely genuine, and it's gonna get worse. Oh my god, I feel so bad.
It's the worst thing ever.
And before you know it, the mummified lady is like right on top of you, almost. And you see this green mist almost like pour out of her, and it seems to encircle around you in particular. And you hear a woman's voice speaking to you as, to your horror, this whatever this is, like places its hands upon your shoulders, and it begins to speak. And I'm imagining like Beatrice is like screaming this whole time because, man, that's got to be so scary. You notice that in the background, the rest of the cabin is also, perhaps understandably, freaking the fuck out, as it were. And she speaks. A shattered spire in gale screams. A stepping stone is seeking dreams. One may fall before storms wake. A father's love. And she pauses midway through this sentence, and she sort of like tilts her head slightly at you. A daughter's soul to take. The child of summer opens the way, for the Stormbringer's hope for escape. And then, as quickly as the mist appeared, it's over. The green mist, whatever that is, seems to retreat back into this, whatever this is. And she lets go of you, much to your relief, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I scramble away at like a quartered animal, like push myself up against the bed. What's that called? The headrest of the bed.
Completely fair reaction. Yeah. Also, you can, if you want to, because this could totally be something, you can incite the drawback on your on your ward perk, and you can take the growing pains condition for experience, if you want to. The details are on your sheet.
Yeah, I will take that.
Yeah.
Yep, no, I'll take that. That's good.
Okay. So yeah, all of this seems to happen, and the other kids in the cabin are also screaming, and you hear like murmuring, like, "What is that thing? What just happened?" And everybody is just horribly confused. And later on, you, Acacia, and a thankfully awakened Halcyon are summoned again to the big house. And Max, you're there, I imagine, because that's probably where you're staying, since you've been banished from the Hermes cabin. So that's probably where you're staying, I imagine, right? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
So once again, everyone has been brought together, and firstly, Chiron he looks at you, Beatrice, and he asks, "Are you all right?"
Oh!
That's a very fair reaction. It's been some time since the Oracle has delivered a prophecy for us. It's usually you have to go to her, but sometimes she likes to wander out from where we hold her. I'm sorry that you had to experience that. Also, he hands you your grimoire back.
Yeah, I get that. I think she'd take it back, but it would take like a few moments for her to like remember what it is.
Fair. Fair. It's a... Can I ask you, where did you find this book?
It was in a... I just kind of pause looking at it for a moment.
In
I get to
a...
keep it regardless of what I say, right?
I guess, though I would like whatever the truth is.
Kind of grumbly. I'm going to tell you the truth. I found it in a tree stump.
And he studies you for a moment. And then, a few seconds later, he says, with a nod, "Interesting. A tree stump. But it doesn't seem like you're lying.
Of course I'm not lying.
And over in the
Lie about a tree stump.
over in the corner of the room, Mr. D opens up another can of Diet Coke, and he's like, "Are you sure?" Just mysteriously found in a tree stump of all places. Quite
It was a
convenient.
very nice tree stump, I'll have you know.
Oh, I'm sure it was the most luxurious of tree stumps. Yes.
Yes, it was. Thank you.
And Chiron, he sort of interjects in between this conversation, and he holds up his hand. He's like, regardless of the quality of the tree stump, and he holds his head as if he's trying to like think through all of this. It's become clear that, well, you're all involved in some sort of ongoing prophecy. I believe that, given how events have been transpiring around you, that you're involved in all of this. What did the Oracle say? What was the prophecy exactly? Do you remember the words?
She looks at them like they are absolutely fucking insane. No, I don't remember the words. There was a dead person talking to me.
Right. I forget that you're new to all of this. I'm very sorry that you've gotten caught up in all of this, then. I wish I could tell you that it'll get better. And at this point, Acacia, she speaks up and she relays the words of the prophecy to Chiron. He seems to mull on them for a while. The child of summer opens the way. I think that would refer to you, Beatrice.
Is my birthday? Oh, my last name. I think she realizes that at the same rate as me and is equally as, like, slightly annoyed. Feels like cheating.
Well, I can't say for certain if that is what the lines of the prophecy mean. Prophecy is tricky. There's often double meanings involved, wordplay, things. Well, you know what they say about hindsight, right?
Most. I don't know, did they say anything? This is a very weird place.
Things always become clearer in hindsight.
See, that is not what I thought you were going to say. Continue.
I think that in order to prevent the coming tragedies, that unfortunately you will have to embark on a quest. For some context, I suppose that I need to explain what is happening exactly. You've noticed the ongoing storms, no doubt. That is only going to continue to get worse. In the next 24 hours, the most powerful storm in the history of this state will make impact. I believe that some sort of force is behind these events that we do not understand. Recently, at the summer solstice, and he begins to explain the context behind this. Right, you see, the gods, they have meetings during the solstices to convene and plan and just to check in on the state of the world. But this year, there was something strange that occurred. The Animorphs, the four winds, did not show up. And no one was quite sure why that was. And now it seems that this storm is barreling towards us. And I believe that these two things are connected. The missing winds as well as this storm. And I believe this prophecy all but confirms that.
Great. I could help you board up windows.
And he looks at you and he says, "Oh, I wish it were so simple. But I fear that if we do not stop this storm, that boarding up our windows will not be enough. Even our camp, even the barriers that protect us might not be enough to ensure our safety. We have to find the source of what's causing this storm, and we have to put an end to it."
So, You want us to do that?
And he takes a long, slow sort of blink as he sighs out and he nods slowly to your question. Yes, that is correct.
Sounds to me like you just want us out of here.
No, that is... Frankly, that's the last thing that I want. You're all very new at this. You've been here for less than a day. I wish that
Yeah.
I could send more experienced campers for this quest, but it seems that it's meant for you. Fate works in strange ways, that much is for certain.
The old ladies? They do work strangely.
And he sort of tilts his head at you as you say that. You speak as if you're familiar with them.
Oh yeah, they gave me this thing.
Yeah, they were
Like, pulls
hanging
out
out next
the-
to a gas station. Like a really weird place to hang out.
And he takes a look at the plush heart that you show him. And he seems almost just shocked as he studies it. They gave this to you?
Oh gosh, this does mean I have to go on the quest, doesn't it? Yeah, they gave me the heart.
Interesting. I wonder what all of this means. And a sort of quiet falls over the big house. And Mr. D, he speaks up and he says, "Well, kids, I hope that you're ready for all of this." And he's just like shaking his head at it, at all of this, this turn of events. Oh. Shame that you can't bring your rival with you, huh, Makeswell?
I didn't care for him much.
Right. I'll have, and this is Chiron now, I'll have Argus get the van ready. And I will prepare some supplies for all of you. And I wish you luck. I believe that you'll find this spire that you're looking for in New York City. That's my best guess. That seems to be where all of this is converging on.
And you want us to go to the spire?
Right.
The spire that's supposed to be shattered in Gale's screams? It seems like a horrible idea.
Horrible, but unfortunately necessary. And you can tell that he takes like no pleasure in like what he is asking you to do. Like he really does not like to do this, you can tell. But if you don't, if we do not stop this storm that's coming, the devastation will be unlike anything that we have seen in modern history. Many, many lives will be lost. But we can stop that from happening.
Yeah, okay.
Do you have any questions?
Why were you so interested in where I found my book? If you also didn't like the fact that it was found in a tree stump.
Well, that book, it's not a normal book. I'm sure that you've caught on to that much by now. That is powerful magic surrounding that. It's obscuring the pages within it, not allowing for them to be read completely. It seems very unlikely that you would find something so powerful by chance. Don't you agree?
Thinks a moment. I don't know. I find lots of stuff by chance.
And Chiron, he chuckles at that. Oh, child, nothing is ever left up to chance. Not really. I think you'll realize that in time. Argus will be prepared soon. You should go and prepare as well. And I think that's where we'll leave this session off.
Drama.